shark world is a little bit bigger than what we think it is, although the ocean is already much bigger than land. So what I'm going to do is share first my screen, so bear with me, because technology is now my friend. I was also born in 1971, so I had to learn all of this. It's terrible.
Hey, so was I.
You know how much stuff we have to... My phone was attached to the wall with a cord, for crying out loud. No, share this window. Doesn't want to share this window. Oh, I had the video.
Oh, you shared your whole screen again. You want to do just the window, remember?
I know. I tried that. So I went up on the video. And it doesn't tell me. Okay, let me see. Share. See, it brings me back to that. Why does it do this? Not share window. I don't want to share this window. I want to share this window.
There we go.
We have a video.
That's the one we want. Beautiful.
But you still see yourself. So like this, you should be able to not see. Where is it?
Well, you can't control my side, so I got it over here. We're good.
Wonderful. All right. Are we ready?
Yep.
So my name is Cristina Zenato. I'm originally from Italy, but I've been living in the Bahamas for the last 32 years. I grew up as a wild child in the middle of the Congo rainforest, and that's where I learned, very much learned, that no animal is vicious or useless, that every animal has a vital role in the chain of nature. My parents come from the ocean. They always took to the ocean. My mom tells me that from the moment I was born, or I guess I continued, I was always a water child. These are the pictures of my dad. He was a military diver in the 1950s in Italy, and he inspired for me to want to become an underwater scuba ranger who had sharks for friends. My dream was to roam around the ocean and tell people what to do, what not to do, while sharks will follow me. And spend my time in the water every day with the sharks, most of the days. Being in the water with sharks for me is and continues to be, although it's been 32 years, a continued privilege. These sharks are part of me. I consider them part of my family. The first time I saw sharks, never mind the first time I touched a shark, I thought, is this true or not? It's like a lifetime dream, a childhood dream come true. I was 8 years old when I decided I wanted to have sharks for friends. I know them by name. I know them by body movement. I know them by physical characteristics. To me, they look different as each and every one of you that I meet. They have personalities. They have stories that they share with us. They think, they feel, and for sure they suffer, and they fear and hurt. Touch is the way I communicate with sharks. Some people may again be against it. Some people may be with it, but their communication is not like ours. It's not verbal. So touch is a big one. I have created a personal relationship with each individual through the years. And so, in the same way I love them, I worry about them. These videos that show the sharks hurting, diving into the sand, trying to dislodge the hooks, biting down on them, are very painful for me to witness in real person. And so that is when I started removing hooks. I started removing hooks from sharks to relieve that particular individual of that pain, of that moment, of that incapability of living correctly. Because their jaws become infected, they have trouble eating, they have trouble surviving. I don't expect to save all the sharks in the world, but as I have the tools and the capabilities to save these sharks, I will continue to do. And for each hook that I remove, I hope that someone will have a different perception about that specific animal, hopefully, or maybe about all the sharks, and understand that basically these sharks have a history, but also have they're affected by our presence, but our doing, but our actions, even when we think they're kind of like out of sight or out of mind below the water. A lot of people tell me, well, the hooks were rust, what you're doing is pointless. You will never save all the sharks in the world. And it's like, yes, but I can make a world of the difference for that one shark. And saying that hooks were rust for me is one of the most cruel statements that somebody can actually tell me about sharks. Because sharks have turnaround, have made people realize that they're creatures with feelings and sensations. They're not mindless, killing, vicious, snapping jaws at the end of nerve endings, and you can add more to those descriptions that people have given me. And so, through my love and worry, and through kind of like wanting to share what I love about sharks and embark on a journey that gives a different word to meaning to the word shark. So, what is that we need to do? We need to understand where they come from, where they live, where they reproduce, where they keep their youngs, where they keep their food. In 2009, I started a work that got sharks protected in the Bahamas completely by 2011. And yet that was the moment where everybody cheered, and I actually stepped back and I said, that's not enough. That's the minimum we can do. And the connection with that happened obviously through water and in the water. I was standing in ankle deep water by a cave entrance, the same one where this nurse shark is swimming by, and I saw the sharks, and I knew about sharks, and I knew about caves. But that shark that just swam into that cave gave me an idea of how everything was vitally interconnected. Yes, that's me following the shark into one of the ocean blue holes. And so what I realized is that water connects us all. And following that flow is the only way in which we can really figure it out how to protect sharks, the ocean, and ultimately ourselves. So below our feet, in the Bahamas and in the rest of the world, out of sight, out of mind, in the recesses of darkness, lays an underneath world. There's a world of caves. It's a world with water flows from one place to the other. Pollution on land transpires through the limestone, goes into this water, and this water moves from the ocean into land, from the land into ocean, through this vast, sometimes uncharted and unknown cave system. And so what I start doing is basically start sharing also that journey. Because caves hold history, mystery, fresh water supply. And in order to basically realize where we are and what we're doing, we need to realize also where they go. It shows us that the sea levels have changed. Stalactites and stalagmites in underwater flooded caves means those caves had to be dry. They show there's a shift into the ocean levels, there's a shift into the climate, and this continues to change no matter if we think it will or it will not. So in my quest to surf these passageways, I went beyond the ocean water. I followed that shark into that hole so that I actually could connect the ocean, the sharks, what is below our feet, and ultimately everything that connects. And it's very hard to bring this to terms, to say, look, these beautiful stalactites, stalagmites, fresh, clean water are connected to our health, to the ocean health, to the shark, or everything else you will love, say corals, which also depend on the health of the ocean itself. It is a complex world. It goes from saving sharks, loving sharks, to say, well, I also have to save where they live, where they reproduce, where they keep their youngs, and I have to save also their food. And it seems unnatural, but these caves are the connection to everything I've been doing. When I independently first started working about shark conservation, ocean conservation, and cave conservation. They say that the ecosystem is the study of a specific environment with its inhabitants. I think we need to remember we're part of those environments. I think we kind of like barged our way in each and every one of them. And we need to start becoming part of the equation, not as a dominant species, but an equal species that understands that we work together because there's basically only one planet. Sylvia Earle said, no blue, no green. Let me say it better. No sharks, no ocean. And so it's a shift in perspective I think that we need to have in a work that I do, that I call it exploration, education, and conservation. So my love for sharks went from a personal, selfish journey of wanting sharks for friends to basically realize that I need to ensure their protection, the establishment of MPAs, protecting caves, forests, mangroves, creeks, and ultimately become educator above and below the water. Like I said, the video will go off a little bit. So, and embarked on this crazy journey 32 years ago. I can stop sharing now. Let's see where it is. Sorry, guys. So much better you can see my face. I took a chance and an opportunity. I was 22 years old. I was offered a job in a local hotel because I speak 5 different languages. And I said, sure, I'll do that. I'll do it for a year. I'll follow that dream of taking diving out of my system and have sharks for friends. And I'll go back to Italy to the real job. And we're 32 years later. I'm still trying to get diving out of my system, but I'm still working on it, don't worry. But it made me realize that what we are, it's not us against them, is not two separate worlds, land and ocean, above and below the surface, above and below the land. It's all vitally interconnected. So shark world becomes our world. It basically becomes what we experience, no matter if we are in the middle of the United States, if we're by a coastal line, if we live on an island, or if we live on a mountain. Everything is so vitally connected. So Shark World moved from being a personal journey, a selfish moment of wanting to be with sharks, in realizing I wanted to save them, and realizing in order to save them and us, I needed to save what is considered the world. And I know it's a little bit ambitious, but I do believe that each one of us can do anything they can, where they are, and what they have. And so with my chainmail that I'm now wearing and my capability of being with sharks, I started removing hooks from that specific group of sharks to send out a message that goes beyond that tells each and every one of you, you can make a difference. You have the power to make a difference. There's people in history that have demonstrated that. I'm not going to be one of them. I'm very small. There's very, very big people that have demonstrated that each one of us can make a change through every small choice that we make. And so that's what I hope to bring to people through my work.
I think you're accomplishing that.
I know it was short, but I wanted to leave quite some time for questions and answers. I know it's very hard to also summarize the 32 years of career and work. For details, just to give you a background, like I said, I speak 5 languages. I am a PADI course director, an NSS advanced cave dive instructor, rebreather, cave trainer, the mixed gas instructor, and I'm a shark behaviorist and ecologist.
Can you tango?
Yes. Cristina, can you tell us about an upcoming shark school that you might have going on this summer for those that are interested?
That was who asked that question?
Richard.
That's Richard.
Richard. Things have changed a lot since you were here.
Okay.
Through it, a hurricane that destroyed 75% of our island, and a pandemic that followed 3 months later, things drastically changed. So, the way I work now, I do one-on-one shark courses where people can come and do what you did, or they can come and do the PADI. I wrote the distinctive Caribbean reef shark specialty, and so they can come and dive with me. But none is scheduled on a large basis, is basically on request, on demand. So people contact me and say, hey, I want to come, I want to do your shark specialty, or I want to do your shark course like you did. I go ahead and check windows of dates that I have available, discuss them with the person, charter the boat, and then basically book that 1, 2, or 3 days that people want to do. But there's no set, basically dates for a specific shark class, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So Cristina, it's Valerie. Hi from Little Cayman, by the way. You've got lots of fans here. Yay!
Hi.
So tell us a little bit about the course, because I know like Michelle took the course, didn't take the course. So could you tell us a little bit about your distinctive specialty and what people would learn, and then where you're located? You're located in Nassau, and
No, I'm located in Freeport, Grand Bahama.
Okay. So
Freeport, Grand Bahama, basically the shark specialty is open to anyone that is a certified diver. It's a 1, 2 tank dive where we go out and dive in the area where the Caribbean reef sharks are. It's not an interactive shark dive. There's no hands-on. We go out with a local operator, and you're with me. I do a presentation about sharks, shark behavior, shark ecology, shark conservation, and shark biology. A little bit of biology. I try to give quite a lot of fun facts about that. Then we go and complete 2 dives, and during the 2 dives, we'll encounter some of the Caribbean reef sharks, maybe record some of their names. I'll show you the different physical characteristics and how I name them. The reason why my friends won't let me name their kids, but that's for a different story. The shark interactive experience or course is 1 or 2 days or more if you want to add more. And that is one-on-one. That's what Richard and also Michelle Chan and Sally Warman did with me. So you come still in Freeport, Bahama. We go out on a private boat, private dive charter boat, like a little island hopper. But it's all for us. Is you, me, and Kevin, who does all the photography and videography of your experience. And I dress you in chain like you saw in the video. And I teach you the basics of how to communicate and interact with sharks and build you up till maybe if you do the 2 days of 4 dives, very much a more independent encounter and knowledge with some of these sharks, including maybe being able to pet one and welcome one in your lap and being able to interact with them. These are sharks that I've known, some of them like Crook for 15 years. So it's a specific shiver of local sharks that I've been working and interacted with out in the ocean for several years. Caribbean reef sharks live between 15 to 18 years, so we are kind of like on a 3rd generational change in my lifetime with them. And so obviously, we're not going to be able to interact with the girls that were here like 20 years ago. They're no longer with us. And so each time the new ones come in, we start establishing this relationship again. And you become part of that. And it's like I said, all one-on-one. So there's no one else on the boat, no one else on the water with you.
So one of the questions that I just saw come across the screen, Cristina, was, have you ever been bitten by a shark?
Do you ask a chef if they ever got burned while cooking something? No. Asking someone who works with sharks and remove hooks from sharks if they're ever been bitten is asking someone if they've ever been stepped on by their pet dog. It's a very, very, I don't like it as a question. I do apologize whoever asked it. I understand what you're trying to say, but what does it mean? Yes, I've been bitten by a shark. What does it mean? I was removing hooks, and so I accidentally got into the mouth, or I accidentally did a movement, and their mouth came in contact with my hand. That's the reason why with protection. Right, but it was not what I call an intentional bite. Not that really. I mean, sharks' intentional bites are very few and far between. It's a very tough question to answer because, yeah, it's like asking a chef in a kiss have never been burned, and the answer is going to be, oh, yes, many times. So yes, I've been bitten, but I can go hundreds of dives without ever feeling the fact that that chain nail actually worked in that moment.
What about the, how did you develop that relationship with this shiver of sharks? Did you just by going repeatedly, or are you drawing them in some fashion? How are they continuing to interact with you?
So the sharks are always Caribbean reef sharks. The name itself has them on the reef, so they live on that specific area. There's a couple of males that live a little bit further away. They never come into the dive, but we see them when we go diving. What I do is bring down a little bucket about this big, and I bring in about 4 or 5 fishes. The 4 or 5 fishes is the same as putting kibbles in your training pouch when you train your dog. So when I go down there with scent, and I send with the scent, all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, okay, it's the interactive dive. When I go down there and I don't have the scent, just know it's not the interactive dive. The relationship is built the same way you will build any relationship. It's time and repeated presence, which provided that we're definitely not the underwater animal that we think we are, it takes quite a lot of repetition and application, meaning my average time with sharks could be 2 to 3 hours per day, which if you think as a diver, it's quite a long time. But then if you're thinking as a lifespan or a lifetime that you spend with someone, it's really very insignificant. So is as much bottom time as I can put into 2 or 3 dives a day for a long or repeated period of time. And that's what causes the relationship. There's just like when the new shark comes in, we start recording her. We'll go, oh, there's a new shark that came in. How I know she's new is she doesn't have any of the physical presence. I don't recognize her face. I don't recognize her. And so we'll write down new shark showed up. And then we start looking for physical characteristics. Maybe it has a bump on a fin, or a scratch on a head, or a blemish in the eye. And we record that. And we start recording because sharks tend to heal really fast on some of the blemishes. So if within 6 weeks the blemish is gone, obviously that is not the ID marker anymore. So we always try to have about 3-4 ID markers. We take a video of the shark swimming one way, we take a video of the shark swimming the other way, we take ID pictures, and then we record if that ID goes away. Give an example, like I have a scar underneath my eye. So if I was a shark, my name would be Scar. But if this scar were to be, absorbed or healed, obviously it would not be my name anymore. It would not be the identifying factors. And so that's what we do through the years is we collect that, and then we log the presence. How long has the shark been coming here? So I have Crook. She is in my log since 2009. And she's still here with us. And it's pretty amazing. You go through your files and your folders and your data, and you just see Crook, 2009, 2010. We're 2026. So there's quite impressive longevity, for example, of that one shark. We record sickness. We had several sharks that showed growth, cancerous growth, like big bulbous things. They have a specific way of becoming weak. We'll see they become very gaunt, like us, like very, very gaunt, and then they're showing some of their structure. So as these bulbous growth start growing, the physical decay happen. I think the hardest part with working with them is I never have a closure. Meaning, once the shark disappears one day, let's say somebody that has been there for 10 years, and then one dive she's not there, and then 2 dives, and then 3 dives, and 3 days, and 3 weeks and 3 months, at a certain point, we kind of assume that she's gone. And unfortunately, we never had the total closure. It's just a record of saying, well, Foggy has been gone now for 7 years. And most likely she's been gone. She was sick. So, but that's how we work with them. It's very much what I call dive site fidelity.
Okay, so Paul, I don't have access to, well, maybe I access the questions. What was another question? Can you
There's a few questions in the chat, so let me just start with a few of them.
I don't see them, otherwise I would.
I'll read them to you. You're all right.
Okay, please. Oh, I got it. Here it is.
Somebody was saying, so you've obviously set some goals. What is your next goal, and how can people get involved and help with that goal?
I just answered this question this morning. It's a tough question to answer because I don't know how to express it. I never really, like protecting sharks was very much a goal, right? In 2009, we received information that the outside fishing fleets of certain countries were very attracted by our healthy shark population. Bahamian waters always been healthy with shark lives. The Bahamians never been involved in shark fishing. It was not part of their culture. It was not part of their industries. So we're blessed with quite a lot of sharks. Outside fishing industries came in and asked permission waters and harvest our sharks. And that's when I went in motion. I created a petition in 2009 that gained 25,000 signatures. So that doesn't sound like much, but in 2009, internet, it was immense. That petition was absorbed by the Bahamas National Trust and the Pew organization, the POW organization, and then island by island, we did campaigns. So we worked on each island, and then the Bahamians basically asked the government in 2011, 5th July 2011, the Bahamian government declared the Bahamas a shark sanctuary. So that was very much a goal. Then I had a goal of protecting. There was a cave system which was only protected by a third of its extension, meaning they protected the entrances and they had a little bit of a park around it. But they didn't realize that the cave was going 6,000-7,000 feet further away from the entrance into the land that could be developed. So the goal became, well, I want to protect the extension over this cave. So I went ahead and mapped the cave on my own time, at night, after work, and submitted this in 2011. We started the work. We were supposed to be done by 2020, and 2020 kind of interview. So in 2023, the cave in the entire area was declared a massive marine protected area. In the middle of these giant goals, it's always been, I would say, a lifestyle. So I don't really wake up in the morning and say, well, I have this one specific goal. It's more like, how am I going to incorporate what I do for a living, right? At the same time, to make it more conducive to have more of this understanding of this knowledge. Specifically, as a goal right now, we have a special area on the east side of Grand Bahama. Again, we heard rumors, there's some ideas of developing. It is very much an area that has beautiful mangroves, sharks, fantastic caves, and it's a local area for conch lobster fishing with a group of people that live in a specific area. And so we have embarked on this specific goal of wanting to put it on the, basically on the highlights of showing how important it is from an environmental point of view. Birds, fish, bone fishing, conch fishing, lobstering, caves, conservation, and not eradicate all of that to overdevelop it. But in between, the work is things like I'm doing now. So like the talks, the presentation, talking to the government, talking to the developing companies. How you can become involved? We have a nonprofit. We accept support through our nonprofit, People of the Water. It's pownonprofit.org. You can come and visit and share some of our adventures with us. As you share the adventures, you bring value to what we're doing. If people come and dive with sharks, We only use local operators. We are in the Bahamas. I've been here 32 years. I live here. I don't come and helicopter in and then leave. I'm very much part of the community. I have a business set up here. So by coming here, you support the Bahamian economy. By supporting the Bahamian economy, you make it very valuable for the Bahamians to understand that keep protecting sharks, keep protecting caves is so important. So maybe it's not a direct contribution, but it's very much a contributed contribution, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. I know Jennifer Hill, I saw Jennifer on the screen there. She had raised her hand and had a question, Paul.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I have a question. Cristina, you've always been like one of my favorite social media accounts to follow, and you're so great on there. I've learned so much from you. Can you kind of talk about the whether that's something you enjoy or not? It's just been amazing, like how much you have such a massive following, and I do so much education there.
Valerie can tell you. So, yes, social media. I would say it's the least favorite of my activities, but is the most favorite of my activities. This is where I receive on social media the most beautiful comments, the most beautiful feedbacks, the capability of reaching beyond even what is my language. Right, I don't know, I speak 5, obviously, I don't speak all the languages in the world, so being able sometimes to receive messages from people in alphabets that I could not even read, that say, I have seen your videos and I've changed my opinion about sharks, is amazing. It's empowering. It's that what makes me realize that power one that I was talking about is like, wow, I'm actually able to communicate with somebody that speaks a language that I don't even know how to read the alphabet, right? At the same time, social media has been brutal. It's been absolutely brutal, especially in the last few years. There is a generalized insurgence of people that just comment on, something that they see quick. And they don't take the time to look, maybe 3 seconds before, 3 seconds after. So it's been extremely demeaning on a personal level, especially in the last few weeks. I've been verbally attacked for removing hooks from sharks. As a woman, I saw a child in the picture, so I'm not going to say some of the words that have been used against me. I'll give you a light one, which was Karen. Go home and cook something. Go home and sew socks. Why don't you have a child? That will make stopping you being so hysterical. To you're old and uptight. You look like 50, by the way, I'm 54, and then like, oh no, never mind, you're like 60, and a whole strain of that, which has nothing to do with the conversation about removing hooks from sharks. But when they run out of argument, there's very much this person, and a lot of people say, well, like Dante said, non ti curarti loro, ma guarda passano. It's kind of like, yes, just don't worry about that. But you do worry, and it's very upsetting for many reasons, including there's a lot of negative opinions, like the sharks should be culled, the shark populations are exploding, and so. Yeah, so social media is my yin and yang.
You did a great job with that guy a couple of weeks ago who said he had 1,000 dives. You remember that one? And he was so much smarter than you because he had over 1,000 dives. I loved your response to that. I actually been very, sometimes a little bit mean. I'm actually considering my response, and I'm like, should I even? But then I engage because actually the algorithm goes up. So these guys don't realize that by being so aggressive, they're actually bringing my content to more attention. So I tried to explain it to a couple of them, but it was really hard. Such great feedback on that.
I'm gonna try that.
That one.
I think
Yes,
Valerie, I think she'll appreciate
that
me
is
getting
the
mean.
issue. Sorry, go ahead.
I said I'm gonna try that here. Valerie would really appreciate me getting mean on social media.
I try to be very educated. So if anybody sends a question, if everybody has a concern, if everybody asks something in fairness, I will answer. Right? I had a couple of fishers that said, well, what are we supposed to do then? It's not that fishing will stop. That is an open conversation to whom I can answer. And I said, I have never asked anyone to stop fishing, and that's the truth. Right? I never asked anyone to, I won't even mention to someone who thought, oh, you shouldn't eat fish. That is not my place. My place is to say, watch. I, single person, in a small island with a small shiver of sharks, have removed over 400 hooks just from these sharks. You do with that information what you wish to do. I had people that said, oh, wow, I used to go and fish sharks for fun, catch and release. I realized that maybe that's not fun. I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to do something else. Or some people that go, oh, wow, how can I be more sustainable in my consumption? And here's your suggestion. There's Safe Seafood Watch.org that helps you be more sustainable in your suggestion. It's when it comes up as a wall and as a personal attack that then I turn around and now I start to be a little bit kind of like cheeky in a way. When someone personally writes underneath the post where I say, oh, I remove hooks because it bothers me to see sharks with hooks, to say, oh, well, next time I remove our hooks, I'll make sure I put my power head into their head first. Right? That is a person that is a scum. Sorry to use the word. Is intentionally hurting someone for the intent of hurting someone by writing exactly what they know is going to hurt. And so for that one, I usually answer tongue in cheek.
Good. All right. We got some.
I've actually created memes.
We got some other questions. Here was a good one. Your childhood goal was to be friends with sharks. Can you describe the first time you felt like you achieved that goal?
One more time?
Your childhood goal was to be friends with sharks. Can you describe the first time you felt like you'd achieved that goal?
Yes. There was a gentleman here on this island called Ben Rose. Ben is no longer with us. He left us in 2019. But he had started the shark dive. And I came in right at the beginning of this, and he felt that I had something special. And it's kind of hard to say this because I wish Ben would say this because he said that on interviews and other people. But he felt I had something special with the sharks. And so I started training under him to go and see what he was doing and interact with sharks. And I remember I was trying to work the sharks and kind of like interact with the sharks and I have to pet the sharks. But it's not easy. It's not speed dating is not a relationship. So I was trying to speed date into a relationship, and it didn't happen. But by the third dive that I was training with Ben, this big girl, this just big Caribbean ring shark just bumped into my chest. And when sharks stop swimming, they sink down to the bottom. They don't have a swim bladder, so they actually naturally sink. But contrary to popular belief, most species of sharks have a secondary system called buccal pumping that allows them to ventilate while stationary. So she hit my chest and then slid down my body, and I kind of like I bent my knees, and she landed on my knees with her entire bottom jaws, and she started pumping water through her gills as she was sitting there. And I just patted her, and I remember I started sobbing because I'm Italian and I'm very emotional. So I sobbed into the grass and I was crying as she was sitting there, and I could feel her jaw opening and closing, pushing down into my legs. And I think that was the moment. And I remember I looked up, and Uncle Ben would just kind of like, we had like his hands like this, and he was just standing because we were standing on the ocean floor. And he looked at me and he went, and it was like the most beautiful moment. But it's a moment that it repeats every time. Every time a shark says, I'm going to come and lay in your lap and trust you with this encounter, because it's not every shark, it's specific individual. That first moment repeats itself. I never take it for granted. I never take it as, oh, not a shark sleep in my lap. It's just this wonderful connected moment
very interspecies. I don't, and I'm not the kind of person who will say I speak with sharks. I don't speak with sharks. I interpret shark behavior. I analyze the shark behavior. But that moment, it really tells me that the shark can say, I am okay, I am comfortable, yes, we can have this. The last couple of days, it was a little bit rough, and I went out, and Crook will sit there for like 10, 15 seconds, and then she will do this with her pectoral fins, like, oh, oh. And I knew she was just like, all right, you're not comfortable. And I would just like, let her swim away. And then she'll loop around and come back in and try again. And sit there for 15, 20 seconds, and then it started again, and it's kind of like a little dance. That's how it's built. It's built through not forceful and mutual understanding and accepting. And some days they just don't want to. They don't want to be interrupted. It's fine.
We have one.
Well, we got one more here from the chat that says, how do you determine different locations for your shark interactions?
Oh, it's the same location. We always go down in the same location. Even like sometimes I'll be gone for 2-3 months. And then I come back, but the sharks live there, so they're always there. They're always on the reef. It was kind of funny because a few months back I was gone. We had other trips and things, and I went back, and the local operator said, "Oh, we haven't seen any sharks lately. You know, we've been diving on the reef, but we didn't see them." I was teaching a shark specialty, a paddy shark specialty. I'm like, "That's okay." I said, "You know, they're here around." So I go down with my student, and I start swimming. And there was like 5 Caribbean reef sharks, and I'm like, "What do you mean you haven't seen any sharks? They're here." And so we had like 2 dives with them, and they were just there. So the location is their home, so we go to them. Like we went with Valerie to Galapagos to see, you know, the scallop hammerhead. We determined the location. So our naturalist guide determined the location where to go based on where the sharks were. Right. So we went to them rather than them coming to us.
We did have one question here.
Sure.
I think you're gonna, yeah, go ahead.
My question is this one. When they come to you and they have a hook, when do you know that they will let you remove it? And the second part of the question is that as you are trying to remove it, do the sharks set individual go as a group, and have you been, as you're trying to remove it, the other shark coming at you saying, stop that?
Very good questions. Very interesting questions. Great analysis. So when the sharks come in with a hook, and that is, I wish people will see, right? So I have this little 5 fishes in the tube, and I use them as a scent. When they come in with a hook, they, even the ones that I know in that moment, they kind of look at me and I'm like, I'm not sure about this today. Some of them, as they come in close, and I think about removing the hooks, and my eyes go on the hook, the shark looks at me and just literally move out. It's kind of like, not now. So they give me some signals, meaning if they have a hook and I look at the hook and the shark swims away, I'm just going to let it be. But a lot of them with the hooks, when they have the hooks, they literally come towards me. Like they'll come beeline towards me. Now, when I touch the hook hurts, right? So, but I've seen sharks, they drop the tail and pause. They actually pause for several seconds and let me try to remove the hook. Now, nature, obviously, this is still a wild animal. Nature tells them, hey, if it hurts, they'll sit there, right? If you put your hand on the stove and it burns, you kind of like pull your hand off. And so as they wiggle, they sit there for a little bit and then they swim away. But what they do is they do a quick loop around and come back and then try over and then over and then over again. So I've been able to remove hooks from a shark on one dive because the shark came back to me about a dozen times. If the try is too hard, it's just a matter of the moment I touch the hook and they swim off, I watch them and they take usually a long swim away. And then they'll come back maybe a minute or 2 minutes later, and then they will not approach. And that tells me, okay, the shark is not ready. So I need to let them be. Unfortunately, sometimes I need to let the infection go a little bit further. The pain seems to change, and then when it's softer, they actually come in and allow me to try. The other one, don't try to stop. it's very interesting when I start trying to remove hooks. The other ones to swim around. They're kind of like in the proximity. But what is crazy is, and this is not me saying, I mean, we have, my husband is down there with me day in, day out, is as I start removing hooks from the sharks I know, sharks I don't know that we never seen before start coming in with hooks. And start circulating and trying the area. We had one story, Floppy. She had been on the dive only 3 times. Floppy is named after the back of her tail was a little bit floppy, hence my friends don't let me call their kids. But so her tail is flopped like this instead of being out, so we call her Floppy. And she'd been only on 3 dives that I've seen her. On the 4th dive, she showed up with the hook on her pectoral fin, and I'm thinking, there's no way this new shark is just gonna come in. Not even thinking that, she basically came straight into me, and I was able to grab the hook. That's the one where I actually flipped. She flipped, and when she flipped, she paused, and I was able to remove that hook with a 2-pound weight off her pectoral fin. Each hook removal is different. Each shark reaction, each shark movement is different, and each way I remove the hook is also different depending on how it's embedded.
Okay, we have another question here.
Sure.
Do you teach people how to remove hooks from a shark? Because I've seen so many and I feel so bad for them, but do you teach that to others on how to?
Yes, I do. However, the people that have come here to learn how to remove hooks from sharks have put in about at least 10 to 12 dives, training dives, one-on-one with me. The reason why is, when you watch the video, you see the sharks coming in with the chainmail, you reach out and you pat and all that. It kind of looks, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. The patting, it's easy. It looks fantastic. But to do the next step of saying, okay, I'm going to go in and grab that hook with my hands by the shark's mouth. The most dangerous is the hook into the fingers. By the way, everything I know is not by coincidence. So the hook becomes embedded into the fingers sometimes, and so either yanks your arms, it hurts. What happens is, I've had people that came and wanted to learn how to remove hooks, and then by dive number 3, they go, oh, wow, I see what you're saying. It will take more than 3 or 4 dives, right? It needs to build. But yes, I have taught people. I've had very successful people then learning to remove hooks. I've given suggestions to people about distance, sometimes, not all the time. People that I know, people that maybe have worked with sharks before. So people that I know that we can maybe communicate about removing hooks.
Do you use any tools, Cristina?
I use primarily my hands. I've tried everything from those long, kind of like they look like little, I don't know, they're hook removers, right? They almost look like the guns where you put the cork, but they have like a long pencil things here. I've tried those. I've tried pliers. I tried clippers. Nothing really works. One, because of my dexterity with the chainmail, which is obviously slippery, but also the action and how fast it is. The only tool that I've used that has been really, really successful has been a couple of like stainless steel D-rings. About, I don't really have it here, but about maybe kind of like this size, like a stainless steel. And so sometimes the hooks will go through the mouth and then the barb comes out this way, right? So the barb is already out. So what I do is I have I cannot even do it, but I have like basically the stainless steel ring attached to my fingers, and then I pull from the eyelet through the wound. So instead of trying to get the barb through the skin again, because the shark skin is so tough, I basically, as the barb is already out, I pull the eyelet out of the same wound. And so I use this kind of like tiny little stainless steel D-ring that I keep in my pocket. So if there's a hook that is kind of like perforating through, then the next thing is just trying to do that. And I've been very successful with that. That prevents damages to being pierced by the hooks or being hooked by the hooks. So if the ring stays attached to the hook, the shark will swim away and then the ring falls off, rather than kind of like, my hand, elbow, shoulder, wrist.
Do you come across very many barbless hooks, or are they always the barbed ones?
I don't have one hook that is barbless. They all have all barbs, big barbs. And so the hooks, the things with the hooks is, I do understand this, a lot of these hooks are accidentals. Don't get me wrong. There's people that go fishing for snapper and end up with a shark biting down on their hook. Sharks will be sharks. So sharks will be attracted by a struggling fish on a hook. I mean, you want to ring the dinner bell, do that. And so some of these hooks are somewhat accidental. Some are questionable, although the sharks are protected. Remember, between a law and an enforcement, there's a Marianas Trench. It's for summer resources. So some of these hooks are very questionable in the size, the amount of them that sometimes these sharks are sport. The concept is I try to remove hooks to alleviate the quality of life and improve the quality of life of the sharks that I come across. So I remove hooks primarily from Caribbean. I've done nurse sharks, I've done blue sharks, and I've done lemons.
And all I couldn't read Corey's question.
Oh, if you guys can hear me, I'll just ask it. Sorry.
Go for it.
And I apologize. I just joined the call, so if this is already discussed, we can just pass by this. But my biggest question is, what does a shark see when, like, what is its eyesight? What does it see when it's out there swimming around and sees perhaps, prey or us or other fish? What does that look like from their perspective? Do we have any real good information on that?
Well, we have information that, so what is a shark? Because there's 530 different species of sharks.
Correct.
So let me give you an example that I use a lot. It's a very good question, Corey, right? And brings us into the conversation. That is the issue with sharks. When we say sharks, everybody, kind of like, see this. And the problem is, the smallest shark, well, the problem is, the issue is, the smallest shark in the world is the dwarf lantern shark. It's the size of a pen that sits in my hand right now. This is a shark, right? The biggest shark in the world is a whale shark. So what does a lantern shark sees versus what a whale shark sees, and in between is obviously very different. Lantern sharks not so much because they live in the abyss, right? So they have a night vision. A whale shark is a filter feeder, so maybe their eyesight, and if you look at the size of their eyes compared to the size of their body, right, Valerie? It's very tiny, right? Because it's not really their most useful tool. Sharks' eyesight in general is pretty good, right? We are actually thinking, we think that sharks can now see well. They can actually see very well. They actually have a very unique characteristic, which is different from all the other fish, is they have a pupil that can dilate and contract with presence or lack of light, like our eyes, right? So I'm out with Caribbean reef sharks, giant thunderstorms come over, and I can see their eyes dilating into like the darkness that arises. They also have on the back of the eye something called tapetum lucidum, which means literally shining carpet. And the shining carpet is designed that when the light comes through the lens and the iris, reflects into the carpet and gives them even more light and visibility. We then go into, do sharks see colors or not? So Dr. Miki Makamkabza did some studies on shark vision and also blind cones. And you see where I'm going down here, right? This is a rabbit hole of shark vision. But the further the eyes are apart from a shark, the further the blind cone in front of the shark. There's actually a beautiful meme, a little shark cartoon with a couple of fishes sitting on the top of a hammer. Going, it cannot see us as prey here, and the hammer saying, "Come on, guys, this is not funny." Because the hammerhead eyes are so far apart that the cone is like, if you look at a 3-foot, meter-long hammer, they almost have 3.5-foot blind cone in front of them. That means the last 3 feet as you approach something, obviously the sight is not engaged. Right, is something else. So sight was engaged earlier, which is their fourth sense that they engage usually by transition. They don't need it as much. But sharks that live in eternal darkness, the sharks that live in the blue, have been detected to only have what we call rods in their eyes. So they don't really see colors. They only detect movement and shades, right? Light shades, dark shades. the entire yum yum yellow goes into the fact that they are more attracted to lighter colors, white, bluish, yellow, because on the water, those are the colors of death, right? A fish's death is basically becomes decomposed and white. But then some have also cone cells. So some have, most, all of them have road cells, movement, shades, but some of the sharks have cone cells. So that means they can see some colors. But what colors? And how much of a variety of the colors? I usually jokingly, gentlemen, joke about the fact, you ask a guy what color is this, they'll go pink. And the woman will go, no, that is fuchsia. Or that's magenta. No, that is lilac. Meanwhile, this is purple. And part of it is evolutionary, right? We were designed to seal the colors, not to pick up the bad seed to bring back to the village and poison everyone. Men traditionally were designed to hunt at night, so lilac, purple, magenta, pink doesn't really make a huge difference. That is how far back it goes into that. Same is for the shark. Do they need to recognize the difference between pink, magenta, and lilac? Absolutely not. So they have basic cone cells that allows them to recognize certain colors, and most likely certain contrast. When they see us, depends who it is. So here's the other story I tell, and tell me if you guys are bored, because I can keep talking until the end of my days. But imagine you are on a paddleboard, okay? So you're paddleboarding. You're out here on Grand Bahama Island. Okay, let's do something I'm familiar with. Clear water, you're boarding over a nurse shark. The nurse shark is underneath, tucked underneath the reef. You're paddleboarding over. Chances are the nurse shark is gonna look up, obviously feel you, feel the water movement, see you, hear you, look up and go, oh, okay, that's kind of big, could it be a predator? Should it be somebody that I need to be aware of? So the nurse shark will stay underneath the coral head, tucked away, going, I just let you pass, right? You paddleboard over a Caribbean reef shark. A Caribbean reef shark's gonna look up, it's gonna hear you, feel you, smell you, whatever, but look up and go, I wonder if that is one of us. Doesn't really feel like one of us. It really doesn't swim like one of us. It does not behaving. Definitely it's not my food, because that's ginormous. So definitely not going to go and investigate that, because it has nothing to do with my food chain. And it's gone. But now you're paddleboarding over a tiger shark, right? Tiger sharks eat loggerhead turtles. They'll come on and investigate. Things are on the surface taking a breath. There was a study in Hawaii, for example, that studied that they were saying, tiger shark prefer to eat loggerhead turtles. When they flip, like statistics, when they flip the statistics, they say, loggerhead turtles take 1 to 2 hours to ventilate after a 2 to 3 hour dive, and hawksbill takes 15 to 20 minutes. The longer you stay on the surface, the longer you become a target. So now all of a sudden you're paddleboarding over a tiger shark, and I'm not saying this will happen, but it's just to give you a perception. And all of a sudden the tiger sharks will go, okay, wow, yeah, you actually kind of weird as a turtle, but you have a shape of a turtle, and you're kind of like paddling. Are you injured? You only have one paddle. You're using alternatives. So you might even trigger somewhat of an investigation from a tiger shark. Now, between the investigation and the decision for the tiger shark to maybe bite, it goes 1,000 times. The same tiger shark sees 1,000 paddleboarders or 1,000,000 paddleboarders and go, no, absolutely not. How do we know this? Back a few years ago, they did a study with BBC down in South Africa. And they wanted to film, they were desperate to film a great white going up to a surfboard and doing, the traditional in the air type of thing. They spent weeks, not days, not hours, weeks filming, basically with the videographer on the water, a paddleboard, a surfboard left on the surface, right, with some fish scent around it, and great white swimming underneath going, and aboard, and aboard, and aboard. Unfortunately, one of them then struck the surfboard. Guess which footage they showed? right? So there's all those components that go in when the shark sees us. But when they see us, especially on scuba, we emit so much information that tells them that is definitely a no-go, right? On top of that, honestly, like for a shark to really go, and that is, I think, one of the things we need to understand about predators. Predators are the most cautious animals. They're more cautious than prey. Because a predator that is injured during hunt will die. Because we'll never be able to hunt again. So they're extremely cautious in that final decision moment to say, I am going for this. Because if they pick the wrong one, they can really, really hurt. And if you watch a video of a cheetah, how long is it going to take a cheetah to decide to sprint? Because they have one sprint. And if they miss that sprint, it takes them about 3 to 4 days to recover from that sprint. So if they miss their target, they might end up starving to death. The same as sharks, they'll be very cautious and hit on a prey. Hence, great whites roll their eyes backwards because seals have like nails. The tiger sharks have nictitating membrane that cover their eyes in order not to damage their vision. So they're very, very skittish, cautious. It's enlightening when we take people diving. We take people diving with tigers, with shaggy white-tip, bull sharks, lemons, Caribbean, not only the Caribbean, not only the Chamber, we do different things. It's very interesting when people watch the sharks being skittish. Skittish when there is a source as well in the water, right? A scent that tells me, hey, you could come in when you're here. And they're very, very cautious in the entire approach and the entire movement. So I can't really answer, what do they really see, because there's all this different information. Sharks also have 7 senses, and they use them depending also on the distance. The furthest one is actually noise. Right? Then they have scent, then they have movement, then they have sight. As they come closer within the last few feet, then is the ampullae lorenzini, which is electromagnetic field sensors, is the last few feet. And then the last 3, which is taste, touch, and temperature, which has to be done on contact. They taste it through their skin. They touch, obviously, by nudging things or sometimes gently mouthing, and they feel the temperature obviously through contact. So the last 3, yes, maybe the shark is a little bit too close for comfort if you're not familiar with them. But up to that moment, there's all these other things that they have to do before they decide to come closer. You wish you never asked that question, Corey.
No, that was awesome. I seriously appreciate that.
Paul, do you have any other questions?
I don't think there was really. Oh, Jenny Hill just popped up. Oh,
Your
Jenny,
girls
you're
are
off
off
the
the
bed,
bed, Jennifer. Thank you so much. Thank you for your girls as well.
Well, yeah.
Paul, I have a question.
We got a question in the back of the classroom here. Go for it.
So
Sure.
knows Caribbean reef sharks really well. Some behavioral differences with the reef sharks compared to other shark species.
So are there some behavioral differences between the Caribbean reef sharks and some of the other species that you can?
Yes, absolutely. So some sharks in general, they're like solitary. Some sharks don't mind gatherings. If you ever go with Valerie to Socorro and you do Rocco Partida, you'll see like the white-tip sharks like piling on top of each other. So some sharks are, let's say, shiver hunters. I will not say pack hunters, because it's not really that they have a technique of hunting together, but they don't mind hunting together. So Caribbean reef sharks, for example, don't mind gathering together, don't mind touching each other, brushing into each other, bumping into each other. They don't mind going for the same goal, even if it's 2, 3 of them. For example, tiger sharks are more individualistic. And when there are few tiger sharks in the same area, there's definitely a kind of like, I don't touch you, you don't touch me. So if have you seen that meme of the great white coming out of the water that says, oh my God, I stepped on a Lego? Tiger sharks have kind of like that behavior. The moment they touch each other, they're like, oh, sorry. So they don't like to even brush fins with each other or moving on the same target together. So when one is on the target, the other ones will back off. So I've seen tiger sharks actually try to eat a turtle, which by the way, their defensive mechanisms are insane because the turtle goes sideways and the tiger shark hates it and is trying to mouth it, but it has a shell. So it keeps sliding and it basically keeps spinning in circles as the shark is trying to mouth it and the turtle is like swimming sideways, giving it that carpus so it can't grab it. Right? But no other tiger sharks will come in and say, oh, let me help you with that, if that makes sense. So that is what Caribbean have. They're, the other one is there's some sharks that are very skittish. You want to trigger a Caribbean reef shark's attention to you, go down there and spear a fish. And they'll have no calls into personal space, coming for the spear, coming for the fish. They'll literally take it off your hands. They'll grab that. They'll bite the fish and take the spear off your hands. It's like, thank you very much. See you later.
And I think there are several people in this audience here that have seen that for themselves, like in the Bahamas, you know, or
Belize.
Yeah, destinations where they do shoot lionfish. They're basically they're associating divers with food, right? And so that they do come and run just like you said, you know. So.
But they only come running when you have the food.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely.
The only ones that come running all the time, no matter if you have it or not, are nurse sharks. Nurse sharks have a higher cognitive learning and the sensory system. So, a Caribbean reef shark, you can be down there swimming around with a spear in your hand. You might not even see the Caribbean reef shark. Charge the spear and shoot it even against the rock. The Caribbean reef shark will be coming. It's like, what happened? I heard a spear. Where's the fish? And then they'll trigger in all their senses trying to find the fish that maybe you haven't even speared. And nurse sharks will see you and go, oh, well, last time I saw you, you speared a lionfish for me. So I'm just going to keep following you. And so their cognitive learning, their associative thought is actually higher than their sensory system. Where Caribbean reef sharks, the sensory system will always kick in before their cognitive. So they'll be like, yes, last time, but oh no, right now you don't have anything. And so I will not approach in the same manner. That's why in Belize, where they feed the nurse sharks, if you look underneath the coral head, the nurse sharks will be here in your face going, are you going to give me something? Are you going to give me something? But if you did that with a Caribbean reef shark, they wouldn't move till you have a proper signal that says, hey, I actually got your fish. So there's huge differences there as well.
Excellent.
We have one more question from the chat area. I'm going to combine a couple here. So our friend Philip is interested in diving with you, and somebody else wanted to know when Valerie was going to coordinate a trip with you so that we could do a shop trip and have several shop customers go down and take your shark class.
This is where you should do your shameless plug for the two have available in 26. Yeah, and then I am booking a trip with Cristina, and I will have those details up shortly.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so stand by. I've already done it. Yeah, there goes all the love, the likes.
That was all Philip. So.
Yeah. But go ahead, Cristina. Shameless plug.
You mean for 2026, the only thing that you can, we don't have, we don't have anything planned with Valerie. You're talking about South Africa, Valerie?
No, go ahead, just you. What do you have for 26 that's still available?
For trips where people can join us, we have Sharkmania. We call it Sharkmania. We're going to South Africa. It's not the tropical water of the Bahamas, but we go diving with blue, makos, bronze whalers, seven eels, and then all the endemic species of South Africa, which are the cutest, cuddliest thing ever. There's a pajama shark. I mean, who doesn't want to dive with a pajama shark? There's a pajama shark. we do the path-feather sharks, we do the shy cat shark, we do the spiny dogfish. So we have all the small species together also with some of the big players. And then with Sharkmania, we also introduce, we go to Cape Town area. So obviously we have safari, we have the wine tasting for those who like wine. We do a Cape of Good Hope, we do the penguins. Right, this is one of the few places besides Galapagos and Antarctica where there's penguins, is endemic species of South Africa. So for 2026 we have Sharkmania. It's in May. We have a few spots left for 18-28 May. And then 2027 we have the liveaboard trips around the Bahamas. And that's when we hit the big players. We do the Caribbean chainmail shark dive, the tigers, lemons, bulls, great hammerheads, and then we have a special trip that goes all the way through Nassau, Blue Hole, the Exumas, and then ends up with the Oceania right tip and things. All the trips, what I do is what you heard tonight, repeated by 10 times. We just finished a liveaboard trip. I almost ran out of presentation. We had 10 nights, 9 days. We did 11 presentations. People kept asking. Right, so we do presentation on biology, on photography, on behavior, on shark world and all of that. 10 most asked questions about sharks. So any place you come with us, Kevin does the photography, videography, does a huge professional package for free, included in the price, and I do presentations on top of that. Okay, that was shameless enough, Valerie, enough.
I love it. You know, supporting you and your efforts is really key, right? Because you're passionate, you're the real deal, my friend. And we really appreciate you joining us this evening. You have a huge crowd here in Little Cayman. Yes. Yeah, you can see everybody here. You've had a great presentation from all of us here. And we're just grateful for all that you and Kevin do in support of sharks. And we want to join you in efforts. And I can't thank you again for joining us tonight. Paul, do we have any questions from back home in St. Louis?
I don't think we have. We do have one question. We got one.
What's your question, Margaret?
What do you do with the fish hooks after you remove them from the sharks?
What do you do?
What I do with the hooks?
You got it.
I put them in a box that was gifted to me by the people of China that invited me in China to help them fight against the shark finning. And I call it the box of hope. It's a beautiful red box and it's overflowing. Apparently I'm going to need a bigger box. But it's full of these hooks that I've collected through the years. And they very much send out a very powerful message when people see them all in one.
And I can't think of a better way to end your presentation on hope. So cheers to you, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're so grateful.
Thank you for having me. Next time we're going to talk about caves, Valerie.
Thanks, Christina.
Bye. Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you later.
And that's Sally. Where's Mary? She went to bed already?
Mary's right there. Oh no, that was Sally.
That's Sally. Hi, Grace. Come here.
Thanks for coming out, you guys. I'll leave this open so you all can keep chatting.
Thank you. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you so much.
I'm turning off the recording.